You can find me at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv, V at aaronhilltv.tv on IG.
And just wanted to throw out before we really get started, I spent a good part of the day off and on because Mondays are difficult, and this one more so than usual. Well, I shouldn't say difficult, event filled. And so this one was event filled. And I was listening, however, in the quiet moments and watching Aaron's street, what's the term that you call it? The serenades, right? With his mom. I'm telling you, it is just so delightful and enjoyable. I got a notification. So is that because, Aaron, I subscribe to you? Is that how that happens?
Was it a notification through Facebook or was it YouTube? Where was the notification?
I think it was YouTube. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I think it was YouTube.
So if it's YouTube, that's because you subscribe to my channel on YouTube and you hit the notifications button so that when I upload new YouTube videos, it'll send you a notification to let you know.
Okay, well, I'm going to suggest everybody subscribe to Aaron Hill TV. You're welcome, because that was so delightful. The same kind of delightful experience that we had at OGOT this past spring when, Aaron, you did your concert.
Right.
Which it has the same feels. You know, I thought that because you were outdoors, it was going to be less personal, less inviting, but there was still that connection and that intimacy, even in the out of doors. So that is some gifted work. That is just, really awesome. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. So when we finish, I'm going to go back to watching the rest of that.
Thank you so much.
I would like everybody to do that because it's really.
I want to say.
Send it to me, Emma.
Okay, good. Just go to YouTube and look up Aaron Hill TV. In the search for it, and then you can
Aaron Hill TV.
Subscribe.
Okay.
Hit the subscribe button, and then when he releases something, you'll get a notification.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I could just for a second, I just want to take a second to say thank you so much, Miss Emma. That really meant a lot to me. It means a lot to me to hear you share your thoughts. First of all, just how it impacted you, the feeling that you got with it, the consistency from what I did at, like you said, at the center, and really just you seeing me. That particular expression for me, it is definitely something that's real special to me at this point. And the reason why is because I actually started that concept like about 3 to 4 years ago, and it was called the Spur of the Moment concert series. And it was where I would just kind of find a place to pop up, and I would just set up my piano and play. I planned on bringing it back this summer anyway, and then in lieu of everything going on, I was really anxious about it because I knew how much we needed it. If I can help someone type of person, I'm a relational person. I like the intimacy of close relationships or small, proximity. I love playing outdoors. I love playing in nature. Like when I close my eyes, it's like I'm listening to like life, and then it's inspiring me to play. And then every time when I was thinking about it and getting ready to put it into play, I already knew what to really expect as far as how it would be received. And like, it is exactly what I expected. I mean, it's something that's something uniquely different about the surprise and the delight of just kind of coming around the corner, walking through a park and just seeing a musician, that's playing that you didn't know. There's been people whose anniversaries I was like, this is the greatest anniversary ever. There were people who were just like cheering as they driving by. There's so many people that are just cheering, like, thank you, we need this. I mean, I can't explain to you like how present I am with this and how excited I am, because I know that I'm making history right now, and it's right in the midst of the way that I like to connect with people. So so thank you for that. Like this is only the beginning. I just want to say thank you, because yeah, when I hear and see how it impacts people, it's really, really motivating, and it's exciting. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And what I'd like to know is how can we capture that intention and use and be able to communicate that kind of experience for people who are going to be tuning in on November 7th. You know, what I'm thinking we all want is for folks to say yes to their yes, to be inspired, to be motivated, to feel connected, to be able to celebrate. And I do know emotions are going to be very, very high, because that's right after the presidential election. Tuesday preceding our event is the national, presidential election. And so no matter who wins, it'll be a very emotional period for everyone.
Right.
And I think we need to be mindful of that, because, somebody's feelings are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to feel, some kind of way about whoever wins the election.
Sure.
And so the side that loses is going to need, I won't say loses, but the side that is not elected is going to need some moral support, some spiritual support, and a lot of love.
Yeah.
And I think we need to keep that in mind as we plan, as we move forward, because, like I said, it's going to be an emotional time.
Right, for sure. I definitely understand what you're saying. I thank you for bringing that up. And I'm gonna give you a clue as to how you can implement and integrate that into your goal. And it's really good what you're saying. So, right now we're in June, July, August, September, October, November. So that's 5 months. So basically, one of the biggest ways that you can do that is kind of through what we're here to share and talk about, which is that what you just said, if you could take everything you just said in that 60 seconds and just imagine that was something that you were sharing, because it was about bringing awareness with the fact that this is what's in our near future, and not just waiting for the time where we get there to then say, like, what do you have, but like literally all along the way, talking about it, preparing for it, giving thoughts and opinions on it, because it is a real deal. That's one of the biggest ways, and we'll talk about some expressions of how to do that. But just in mindset, if you could just get what I'm saying in mindset, I'm essentially saying the way to really do something that really helps people in that time is to first of all, make it a reality that you're talking about and that you're sharing. You're even sharing about how the arts and that kind of thing can help people through those times, or how it relates, as well as projects like the ones that you're working on now to actually release on like a particular day to make a big impact, kind of thing. So I'm essentially saying keeping the conversation going, and even sharing, even in the way that like you just did, is actually one of the ways to achieve your goal, what you're asking, of how to actually be there for people, how to have the relevant conversations, how to prepare something dealing with arts or music to help people. It's like all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I know that was a lot. I just wanted to throw that out there just so I could kind of, I'll keep talking that way a lot of times, because what it'll do is it'll start to help everybody realize the kind of mindset to be in with everything that we're doing and building, like the mindset to be in, because that mindset is like immediately applicable as soon as we get the ball rolling on all these things. Yeah.
So if I understand what you're saying, it's like keeping that concept and that conversation open in everyone's consciousness. So as they are developing what they do with people that we interview, leading up to that, people who are participating in the community group, you know, everyone has that awareness and that consciousness, so that we can express at some given time during the event.
Mhm. Well, it's kind of like that. Here's let me see if I could help you a little bit more. It's more like, imagine.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I had an incoming call.
no problem. Here's
Having the intention and express and having it in our consciousness will allow us to demonstrate it, and people will receive that message, in other words.
yes, because okay, if you rewind all the way back just to this moment, why that came up for you, it came up for you for a reason, because it's something that's just relevant to life, and it happened to be something you thought about, right? Even as you're in the midst of, like, you were thinking about it for a particular reason as far as the project, but I'm saying, like, it's just relevant, period. You know, there are many people to some degree that's thinking about what you just said, you know. So essentially when I am saying what you're saying, but it actually is even bigger than that. Right now, we're actually in a Zoom meeting where we're recording this Zoom and we're having this relevant conversation, right? If say it just so happened that from this point on, say this whole objective of this meeting was completely different. Say from this point on, all we did was we just talked about the subject that you just mentioned, and we talked about everything relating to that. I mean, we talked about how it made us feel. We talked about the last election. We talked about upcoming whatever, you know, election. We talked about what our world is dealing with. Imagine we just kept talking. Everybody just shared, and we were just sharing and talking. And then imagine that this recorded piece was actually something that was a part. It was something that from there, other people, just in general, the way that people would on Facebook, if somebody's just tuning into a subject or a video or something, other people would you know, then listen to it or watch it and actually be able to relate to it too. Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let me mute this scale.
So we could do almost like a mini broadcast to have people listening on the conversation.
Yes, or exactly what we're doing right now, where it's nobody but just us, and then this is something. Okay, so then from there, like I said, imagine this expression that we're doing right now being a part of the whole journey, because even in relating to arts and spiritual arts and those kind of things, the reason why that came up for you, Miss Emma, is because it's just a part of life that everybody can relate to. And so what that means is that is just that. It's something that's relatable for everyone. So essentially, like I was saying, the way to really do something for people in that vein is not just to do a project that then helps them out. It's to do a project, but also in the midst of a whole bunch of other things, like conversations like this, that even just talk about the subject of, like, here's what we're doing. Because this is all relatable life stuff. And I know that, and I know I'm saying a lot, and I know that it might not seem like it's related to spiritual arts and that kind of thing, but it actually is, because it's all a part of one thing. So yeah, that's essentially how you'd help people, or how you would put contributions towards what your goal is. It would be projects like how you're working on now, as well as, like you said, like just conversations like these, or broadcasts, or, you know, different things. But yeah. And I know I'm going from 0 to 100. I apologize. But you know, yeah, you just opened that up when you said that. So I wanted to kind of like introduce that into the equation. And we'll talk more about what that looks like. But yeah, I was just saying that to say, having conversations around that topic from now until November is actually one of the biggest things that you want to do to contribute. I mean, to reach that goal that you're mentioning about how to help people through it, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to talk about structure. You know, what are the nuts and bolts of how to put a page together?
Right. Okay.
Not a page, a group.
Right, okay.
And the reason we need to move on that fairly quickly is because it still has to go through Reverend Lemetria and Reverend Burnett,
Right.
and they have I have a copy, as soon as I can get it to open up, of a document, okay, that they are using that we need to be aware of.
Okay.
And it's the strategic goal areas and goals. So let me see if I can figure out how to send that to everybody so we can all look at it.
Do you have is it a document you have right now that's like pulled up on your computer or the device you're on?
It's on my tab. It's on my tablet. So I just opened it up. I'm going to save it so I can send it
Okay, gotcha.
to everyone email. Or if I send it to you specifically, Aaron, maybe you could put it up on the screen. Would that work?
Well, that's why I was asking, because you could actually, well, you're on, like you said, it's not on the device you're looking at because I was going to say you could actually hit share screen and just bring it right on up. Do you have Zoom on that tablet?
Oh. Not
that you have to, we won't go through it if you have to. But,
I do. I do have Zoom on the tablet. And I can't talk on the tablet, but I have Zoom on it.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you had it on the device you were talking to, you could just hit share screen and open it up. And then other than that, you could do it on another device. And and then last but not least, okay. So if you want to just send it over to me, that could work, and I can open it up on my screen. That could work. But I do understand. Right. I do understand what you're saying about the structure or about the strategic. It's funny because I could tell who came up with the plan by the first word, strategic. That's Reverend Burnett. That's a Reverend Burnett right there. Strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad to see that they are actually forming this because,
right.
And I don't have inside information, but Michael was on the board for 3 years. And that seemed to be, from where I sat, one of the struggles, or let's say one of the thing that he focused on primarily to get some order and direction in terms of how individuals would come together under the umbrella of OGOT and really be working towards the same goal. Right. Because there are lots of good ideas and lots of projects that came up, and sometimes they would be like mushrooms. And some things were supported and some things weren't because it just wasn't that consistency. Okay. Although most of the ideas were really good ones, from what I can tell, just sitting in the pews. So you can check your email now. I think it may have come through. Okay. But I will say that there are 5 focus areas, and whatever we submit has to address at least one of these 5 areas. Okay. The first one has to do with finances. The next one is youthening, which is a term I think they have created, but it's to
millennials,
attract and develop a diverse demographic of younger congregants. Then communication, reach more people in diverse ways. For the facility itself to develop and maintain a highly sought after modernized facility. And then in technology to consistently offer seamless, simple, and up-to-date technology with dedicated staff support and resources.
So you've hit 3 of them.
Yes.
I said you've hit 3 of them already.
Yes, I agree. The finances, the youthening, and the communication. Those first 3.
And technology, yeah.
I thought the technology so much more than the other stuff.
But they all hit all of them.
Yeah.
I think communication is really essential, and because that's what we're doing. We're communicating to a wide variety of people.
Right.
And it is always our intention.
But with technology, you'll get the youth.
Absolutely.
And the technology, that's your vehicle. So.
Yes. We're hitting them.
Okay.
So with the, I'm still pulling it up, but So based on what you're saying, did you say that the objective was to make sure that that it fell in line with it, or that it reached the goals that were there? That was the first question. And then the second question was, is the order on that list a particular order of priority, or is it just in no, as they say, in no particular order? These are just the 5.
No, there is no order.
Got it.
Okay. That was my impression as well. And you don't necessarily hit on all 5, but certainly if your activity or proposed project does not address any of the 5, then you can almost guarantee, unless you restructure it, it's not going to be supported. So, but we've been thinking along these lines anyway from our very first program.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Okay.
just puts it, it just makes it identifiable in terms of, a structure and a form.
Okay.
And there's a proposal form that has to be submitted. I just wanted to make sure we were all, aware of what specifically they would be looking for, just so we can all, stay on the same page.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely understand that. I'm sorry, my computer, my internet connection is a bit slow, so it's still pulling up the email. But okay, that makes sense to me. And did you say, Miss Emma, that you were interested in us talking about the basics of how to set up a Facebook group?
Yes, because
Okay.
that certainly is one of the things we're going to have to present to both Reverend Lemetria and Reverend Burnett.
Right.
They're going to need to know, how it's supposed to operate, what the parameters are, who will be allowed to participate, what kind of controls would be in place,
Okay.
all of the things that could bring up a red flag for them in terms of, I'm going to use their language now, protecting the brand.
Okay.
Of OGOT.
Got it.
Michael.
No.
I'm sorry.
Emma, I
Yeah.
say this because I think we will easily fulfill all of the obligations. But moreover, we have to maintain our obligations to spiritual arts and what we represent. I think if we maintain our spirituality, the way we follow spirit, there's no way that we won't succeed. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Well, thank you for bringing that up and saying it so clearly, because that is our foundation right there.
Absolutely. See, that thing is a marriage. Okay, we are in alignment with the strategic development, and we're in alignment with spiritual arts, with our guidance of spirit. So it has to have a happy median. It can't be top heavy and we down there somewhere. It's got to be a perfect marriage. Well, a marriage.
Okay. Well,
Perfect.
it is perfect. It's marvelous. It's marvelous.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost there. It's the document is coming up now. Okay, got it. I'm getting ready to share my screen, and then let's see what we have here. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Mom.
And while you're pulling it up, let me just say this to everyone else. If you belong to a ministry like you do here, Emma can, if you need to hold it and look at it and meditate over it, we can send you a copy of it as well. Because all ministers ministry leaders received it, as well as anyone that wanted to participate in the ministry's leadership meeting last week was
Yes.
sent that same document.
Mhm.
And I believe part of that document is on OGOT's YouTube.
Did it not come out also in the e-blast? Because this looks
Yes,
very.
that's what I'm saying. It's everywhere.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
Okay. All right. So I was gonna just kind of glance at it and see if I could scroll through it. This page. Ask because my computer.
That's it.
That's it right
that's
there.
it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Because then what I'll do is I'm gonna read through it real quick, and I'm sorry if you can't see it. My computer's buffering. Kind of. Okay. That's a little bit better. Come on.
Good evening.
Hey,
No,
Mr.
it's good.
Aaron.
And if actually you can grab and
Karen?
you guys can increase the size of it with your fingers too if you have it on a phone.
Oh,
And
did somebody else just join us?
That
Yeah,
was Karen.
yeah.
Hi,
Yes.
Karen.
Hi.
Belladonna was on.
I just got out of another meeting.
Oh.
Let me just, while you all are looking at this, let me just say that a high level presentation of the goals and objectives, the working piece of this is yet to be done. So anybody who wants to work on any of these would need to contact the board. I can't remember who all is spearheading what.
Tiffany Ginyard, isn't she?
No, I mean who is championing the area. So Stephanie
Van
Dykes is
Van
technology.
Van Johnson is doing the financial.
Oh, each
Right.
area. I see.
Yaya, we're waiting on a yes for youthening. I am with facilities. Virginia.
Veronica.
Huh?
Virginia is communication.
Virginia is with communications.
Yeah. So
And what's the last one?
Technology.
you got them all. Technology. Technology. Yeah.
Technology is
Yeah.
Oh my.
That's
Technology is Stephanie.
It's Stephanie, right?
Right. So I apologize just coming in and bursting in, but I want to make sure we are in order and process. So this is not an appropriate document for us to take action from, because there are action plans that need to be developed from these objectives, and people have been asked to volunteer for one or another of these areas and to work within that piece, to come up with specific action plans and that kind of stuff. So wasn't sure where you all were headed, but I didn't want you all to head in the wrong direction if you were
No, Karen, we're not in the wrong direction, and they are to use this as a springboard. That list is for springboard. The people that are going to be coming into it are coming in to do additional planning to that particular groups.
The springboard is in developing the action plans. I just don't want us to, go down a particular road and then get disappointed.
I understand. If I could understand what you're saying, basically in a nutshell, that's because I was reading the whole thing while you were saying it. You're basically saying, like, this is a blueprint sketch that, like you say, starts with an overall structure, but doesn't have all the action plans and all the, so.
Right,
like
this is an overall structure. This is a skeleton that the meat has not yet been put on.
Can I ask you a question about this? I asked Miss Emma a few minutes ago and I'll ask you the question, with the priorities right here, is this one of those, these are the priorities in no particular order, or from left to right, the way that this was this written from left to right from that perspective? From the perspective
No
of
particular
priority. Okay.
No, the priorities are all 5 of the focus area. Each focus area is a priority. So
Okay.
all 5, but in no rank order. They are all priorities, and the objectives that you see is what's going to be developed into action steps with an action plan completed with, and so that becomes the kind of moving target, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I just want to.
I believe I really understand what you're saying, and that's why I try to simplify it like that. You're basically saying this is not a fully hashed out plan. This is, like you said, an overall sketch, and it's just, and I've read it while you were saying it too, and I can see that it's just touching on areas and just giving some very basic general surface level like starting places. So I'm with you on that, and thank you so much for for clarifying. That was right on time, because of the fact that it would have come into play as we were starting to talk about things and trying to understand how to relate it to this.
Right. So, but for the whole COVID-19 thing, this would have been much more completed, because once this was developed from the retreat, then the board's plan was to meet with the membership again. But right around that point is when we started getting the stay-at-home orders. So now we've got the board champions, and the board champions are recruiting interested members and others to help flesh out the action steps relative to this from a strategic standpoint.
Well, I can tell you this, Ms. Karen, and the reason why I asked you the question about the was there order, and just to get the mindset of it, I can tell you right off the bat, just my 2 cents, as they say. Number 3 and number 5 to me are like the most important, are and are going to be the most important aspects of all the goals, especially because of where we are now and where we're going from here. Like even just new norms and that kind of thing. That's one thing that I can confidently say, because
you can't have 3 and 5 without 1.
And now here's the thing. You can't have 3 and 5 without 1, except for one of the beautiful parts about number 3 and 5 is that 3 and 5 need 0 of number 1 to work. So it's actually the opposite of what you're saying. And that's even why I brought it up, because it's actually the way for number 1 to be what it needs to be. When it's the other way around, it winds up being a consistent hamster wheel, because of the fact that 3 and 5 are needed to make 1 work, even though most feel like how you said, which is that 1 is needed for 3 and 5. But I stand here as a person who since 2005 has been consistently using 3 and 5 to create an enormous amount of 1. And that's with no 1 to begin with. And that's why I mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah. But when I think of finances, I don't just think of money substance.
Okay.
So that's why I said that. But no, money is not required for some of the things in 3 and 5. But if we start moving down that road outside of the context of the process that the board has set up, we're going to end up being frustrated. So whatever we do, I think it's just incumbent on us to make sure we're keeping those people in the loop. Because things don't stop. We don't have to, things don't stop.
Yeah.
But we're in a process, and this is a structured and planned process. And, you know, it's been a while, and I have to give my hat off to the board, because it's been a while since we have engaged in an ordered, structured process for looking at our 3 to 5 year strategies.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're
So
saying.
whatever we do is going to play a part in it, but we are not the decision makers. And so we just have to be aware that we need to keep folk in the loop. And
Exactly. And that's the whole reason we brought that up to begin with. And that's why it's being shared right now. So everyone has their consciousness. And I think we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I think the point that Theodosia made, that because we are so spirit driven, and that we, you know, immerse ourselves in listening to spirit and really focusing on that it would be hard for us to be off track. But we acknowledge, and we are acknowledging that their structure is being developed, that this part of it exists. And so we are using that as a reference point so that we can stay in communication, which we do anyhow. I mean, there's never been a time when we've done anything that has come as a surprise, except maybe, but it wasn't on our part, the ad campaign that went out at one point, one of the events, I don't remember, Karen, you must recall, where neither Reverend Burnett and Reverend Lemaitre had opened their emails, and so they did not. It was something they didn't see, but that was that was their issue. You know, otherwise, you know, no decisions are made as a surprise to them. We don't send out notices, letters, communications without their, you know, advanced knowledge and approval. So, I mean, we, you know, that's just how we operate. I don't think that we've never had to struggle with trying to do that. It's just what we do.
Right.
Okay. All right. So getting back to identifying a structure of some sort, procedure-wise for us, so we'll know what that looks like, and whether we modify it or not, at least we have a place to start. And Aaron, that's where your expertise is so critical.
Right, understood.
In terms of developing a group.
Yeah, so I have a screen up that is, let's see, I have a screen up that's going to show my browser, and as soon as I find it, where'd it go? It's going to actually show the window, the Facebook window, and I'm going to show how it looks to start a group. Give me 1 second, and share Firefox. Okay, so on this screen here, we're on Facebook right now. And right now we are on the news feed on Facebook. For those that utilize Facebook, you know that you can either go here where my cursor is to your home page, to your personal page. You can hit home, which takes you to the general feed with all your friends and some other things over here. And okay, they have the new tab here. Okay, so I just found out something new. So this is where you create a group from. This is from the home page, the news feed. Over here is the word groups. And this is actually where you would normally click on it. And that would take you a page where you can hit create a group. Now they have it where right up here, they have a new create button next to home. And when you click this, you can create a page like we were talking about before. You can create an ad to advertise your business. This is something that, this is something huge right here that every business, every church,
do you have to pay for that?
For ads?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, you do. Okay. You do invest. Yes. Yeah, you do invest in money in ads, and when you know how to use them, they are your personal connection to everybody that's in your tribe, everybody that you are actually setting out to do any goal for. is right here. I've gotten really, really good at running ads on Facebook and doing what I call I call it the lunch money strategy, which is that in a nutshell, I figured out how to take as little as $1 and to reach hundreds of people that are right in the target audience of what I'm doing and who I'm doing it for. So anyway, that's the ads location. And then here's where you have group, which is where we would go into, and then you can create an event marketplace listing or fundraiser. So groups here will take you to a page where it's going to ask you the name of your group. And I'll go through this as a template. So let's say the name of this group was, just keep it short, the OGOT Spiritual Arts Ministry. You can add email addresses so that you can invite some people in right away. Just, people, you can do it via their name, and it'll pull it up on Facebook, or their email address. Then you can choose whether this group what kind of privacy this group is. So whether it's a public group or a private group. A public group, anyone can see who's in the group and what they post. So what that means is if you search for the OGOT Spiritual Arts Ministry on Facebook, you would see the group come up. And if it was public, then you can just, you can click on it, and then you'll be added to the group, and then you can see what's in the group. If it's private, then you can't, the only people that can see who's in the group and what they post are the people that are in the group, right? So that you can choose your privacy there. And then you would create the group. Once you create the group, then it'll bring you to a screen, and I'll take you to one of my groups so that you can see. So I'll go to, we'll go to the 5M Fellowship group. The first group that I started on Facebook was this group right here. I'm gonna show you all this real quick. It's a group that I started a while back in, I think, 2013, and it was called Let's Talk Universal Spirituality. It was a group when I was coming out of Christianity, where I created a place where there were people there that we could relate to the same experiences, and I would share a lot of stuff that I was learning. And this group right now is at 490 members. It was up to like 600 at one point, and I started this group in 2011 when it was early Facebook. I'm sorry, not 2011, 2013, early Facebook. So the level at which this group was active was really enormous. I mean, like, any post that I put up, any way that I engaged, and I would just talk about all the things that I was learning and bring in new experiences, all these kind of things. But anything that I put up, I mean, there were 40, 50, 60, 70 people regularly where we were all engaged in conversation every day, like day in and day out, because it was a common interest. And so eventually I left this group because I was moving in a different direction in life, but I didn't take the group down because there was so many people enjoying themselves, and those people are all still here. And I actually didn't realize I still had it up because it had been a few years, and I searched it and I went back and found it. But this was a very successful group. There's a lot of people who right now are in my they're a part of my friends and following and fan base, and people who have become lifelong friends, literally just from what I'm showing you all, even to work with you all with, which is creating a group that wind up connecting with people around the world who had a like interest. And all we were doing is just talking and sharing on a regular basis. But a lot of those people are now my customers. They're people that patronize my business, but they're also not just business people. They're like so many people that just support me on the journey. So that's that. Anybody have any questions about this group before I leave out of it? And then I'll show you the other one. Okay. So I'm going to go into, I have two other groups. One, here's another one, our Fruition Music Performance Track group, and I showed you all this before. But this is the group where when I started my performance track company, this was the group that I started. This one has 768 members, and people still join this every day. This is a group where I was sharing my backing tracks and all things related to the backing tracks. So what you would see, you don't see it now because I allowed some people to post some more things in the group, but what you would essentially see are nothing but post after post after post with all things related to something around my performance tracks or music, you know. And so that wound up being a very successful group. That wound up being a very successful group where people would also share their content related to the tracks as well. So again, common interest. And it wound up being a really successful group. To this day, I still use it to post things. And on a regular basis, like for instance, I'll have like one thing I have going on right now is that everybody who is purchasing tracks, who is finding out about the company and still, or listening to the music or watching videos, now what I do is I ask them when they use music that's from my company to now post their own videos of them using the music for other people to just enjoy. And so now it's turned into a huge sharing environment where people share their experiences related to the same thing. And then now they become friends and it just keeps going deeper, deeper, deeper in that way. So I still use this group really heavily for that. And then the next group that I have is the 5M Fellowship. And this was, I showed you all this one before. This is based around my new Sunday 2-hour, virtual gathering. And this group is all things related to 5M. And so same thing here. And what you'll notice is that, and this is a group that I just started. I converted it from another group because this group used to be the Fruition community, and all things related to Fruition and Fruition experience in the band and the music and everything was all here. We all lived here. But I changed it because the Fruition community changed, and I still had a huge group. I mean, this one has, how many people are in this group? This one has 119 members. And so I converted over to 5M, and now what happens is I use this just for all things related to 5M. And what happens when you create a group is it actually feels like a family. Like people really wind up building long-lasting relationships in groups because everybody's under the same tent for one common interest. So every time I post in this group, people are definitely seeing it, and it's a good amount of people that's just checking out on the regular. All right, and then last but not least, and then I'll pause for a second. Actually, here's another one. Now, I'm not as active in this group as I used to be, but I created this for my siblings, my family. So my father has a bunch of children, as he says, a bunch of children. And so it's 15 of us. And so we all live in different places. So I created this group for us to be able to share and engage in and talk and stay up. In fact, here's a beautiful picture of my siblings, if you all have never seen my siblings before. But I say that to say, again, just to kind of show you a different but common interest, And in this group, we're just sharing things and talking about things related to the family. Groups are really, really good for anything you're trying to do. And this is the reason why I was saying what I was saying a few minutes ago, even as far as goals and that kind of thing, because what you'll notice is I've utilized these kind of methods in YouTube and Facebook and these kind of things in a way where it creates all the community, the people, the numbers, the support, the finances, the resources, and just all kinds of things because you're structuring an environment. So one last thing I want to say, and then I'm going to pause, is so Ms. Emma, with this in mind, and I'll go to let's see which group do I want to go. Oh, here's another group. I'll go here. This was my quotes and musical elevations group. This is something early on I created around myself before I created Aaron Hill TV. I just created a group that was like going to be all things related to me in a particular way around my quotes. Now, Miss Emma, earlier when you were mentioning, about the goal of helping people out in this time, especially as we come around November and elections, this right here is where it comes into play, like how I've been talking and what I've been saying. So in these groups, like with 5M is a place where, we talk about things related to life as it relates to like a common interest. 5M is music, music, movement, meditation, mindfulness, and mantra. It's kind of like a spiritual community, so to speak. So what happens in this group is we're just sharing on those levels. Here was a post that I shared because last week I just landed an interview with Carlton Pearson to be on my podcast. And so I was sharing in a group, and because of the common interest, everybody's excited. We're all talking about it. And I kept this conversation short, but we could have kept going. So imagine this is the conversation about, hey, so elections is coming up, and there's a lot that we are thinking about in relationship to it. We're preparing for it, and we're using our arts and our music to get us through. And that, like, this is how it unfolds. You know what I mean? And then people engage in that, and then that's how you water the plant. That's how you water the, over time. And then in this same group, it's also like, yeah, and on November 7th, we got this huge project that we've been working, and everybody's aware of it because that's been the topic of conversation all along, right? So anyway, I just wanted to just kind of say that just to kind of even bring home what we were sharing earlier. But yeah, once you create the group, then this is what it shows up as. And then after I take this pause, then I'll come back and just start telling you basic things like you're uploading a photo and you're gonna, choose certain preferences to structure the group and that kind of thing. But anyway, so I'm open to, feedback or thoughts.
I have a question.
Okay.
That you have a lot of groups that you're managing. We're only going to focus on one, but how much time is that going to take, and what kind of effort to, I gather you just plug stuff in, so you don't really have to worry about the structure of it like you would if you were trying to organize a web page or set up a website.
Right.
But still, in terms of content, it takes time. Somebody's going to take time to do that, and how much time is involved.
Right. So here's the good part about this. Yes, any operation that you have benefits from like the way that you're thinking about it. But the good part about this is if you want to flip your mindset to think about it like a party, right? It's like when it comes to parties right now, let's apply those same questions. Like, okay, so who's going to have a party? How consistently are we going to have a party? Like, it's really more like you throw parties because of the fact that they're fun and they're engaging. There's no obligations to it. However much time you put into it is how fun the party is going to be and how often it occurs and when it happens. What you'll notice, though, which is the beautiful part about these kind of parties, is that, and one thing you said in the beginning was, like you said, you got a lot of groups, and managing them. Here's the funny part. I actually spend less than 5 minutes a week tending to these groups because of the fact that I've started a party. And so the party continues on because of the fact that I've started a party. So the beautiful part is you don't have to feel an obligation to it. What happens is when it comes to a group, you just participate in the group as you are inspired. So you read a poem earlier when we started this. So what you would do, one practical way of thinking about this would be, you'll start realizing like, wow, I read that for our meeting. That's actually a really nice poem. Let me, while I'm getting ready to sit down and eat dinner, let me actually read this poem in the group real quick. This is nice. I just want to share this. And you'll just do it. And then that will be content. That's content because you're creating something that's of the interest, that other people are there and are waiting for it too. And because of the fact that the consistency is that everybody is interested in a particular thing, and you structure the type of environment, then all you do is whatever you plant, whatever party you start, whatever time you say, hey, like this is what I'm feeling, that's when the party starts again. And there's no obligation. There's just room for continual communal growth. Now, when you approach it with that mindset, and then you also layer a light little layer on top of, like, okay, so as a group, once a week we will meet on Zoom. I mean, we'll meet on Monday nights from 7 to 8, and we'll just hang together on a live stream and just talk and just catch up. And that'll be something we just do every Monday. That's how you'll start layering in consistency with certain things. But you don't have to look at this like, okay, so now we created this thing. Now, like, the goal is to, like, get on this rigorous schedule. It's not like that. It's more like you're just creating a community. And the beauty about this community is you don't have to schedule a Sunday at 9:30 service in order for the juices to start. All you got to do is just live your life as it relates to this interest, and then you just start sharing. You just start sharing. So whether that's a thought on your heart because you just came across this cute little poem that you think is really helpful, whether that is you're getting ready to meditate for the day, you're getting ready to do your personal practice, and you're just like, you know what, I actually want to share this with people. Whether it's like you're going through your phone and you just found a picture from an event that you all have, and you share it, and you're like, this was when we did such and such. It's more so that kind of free, non-obligatory sharing. What makes it consistent and well populated is the fact that all you're doing is you're just working with the fact that everybody here on this call just has an interest. That's it. Like, it's just like anything else, where when you have an interest, you don't even have to be obligated to share. You just enjoy sharing. It's just an interest. Now,
Okay.
what happens from that, like I said, is that you can then have some nice, really light, strategic kind of, okay, these will be some consistent. We'll start meeting at this time. We'll do a live stream at this time. We'll have on Wednesday we decide to do this, but it doesn't have to be anything heavy at all. And what I try to do is help with the understanding that all it needs to be is fun and interest driven. And then you realize you're going to wind up, okay, here's the last thing I'll say, and then I'll pause for your thoughts. What you're going to realize as you start to get the hang of this and mentally, you're actually going to start realizing that you're going to wind up having way more content. Like, it's going to be exploding with content. Because again, now instead of just listening to the song on the radio as you were driving and being like, oh, I really feel this, you'll, in addition to that, go, hey, have y'all heard such and such? And you'll just type it real quick and post a link and then keep driving, Or like I said, you'll be sitting down at your dinner table just like, wow, I made it through this day. So I want to share and talk about these kind of things and chop it up with Eunice and Theodosia and everything. It's that kind of thing. You're just sharing comments.
And how do other people find their way to this group?
Okay, so the way that
Because it's open, it's an open group, right? It's not a private group. It's open to the public, correct? Yes.
Well, private just means that when you pull it up, you can't actually see what's in the group unless you hit the button to try to be accepted to the group, to send the invitation. And then once it's approved, then at that point you'll see everything that's in the group. But you can see the group from the outside and you can see what's posted. You just can't post and participate. You can't post in it, like post your own post, unless you're accepted. That's when it's public. But when it's private, you can't even see who's in the group and what they're talking about. You just see that it's a group by this name and maybe a few other stats, but it's private, it's hidden. You can't see what's going on in the group. So the way that people would find the group would be that it would start with you all, where you all just started sharing that you have a group and this is what you all are doing in it. And you would share that with everybody else who has actually a like-minded interest, which is pretty much most of the people, not pretty much, which is everybody else in your current spiritual community and your church, which is the best part about it, because you already actually have the family there. And now all you need to do is just start a party and invite people into the party experience. But the beautiful part about this kind of party is it doesn't have to be a party where you have like a million different things happening. It's actually just the fact that this is what we are here for. This is our intention. And then because people can freely share in that way, and they want to because they're excited to talk about these things and share, then the wheels start naturally turning. So you always start sharing with your friends and family in your community just about the group, you know. And then as people came in, because you all were sharing some really good quality stuff with each other, and it was a really fun environment, that would just take on a life of its own. Then past that, then you have other methods like being able to send out, you know, an actual e-blast to people if you know, with like a church mailing list and that kind of thing, where, you know, you have that kind of thing. But yeah, that's how people would find out about it. You know, you wouldn't expect it to just sit and then you would share. Hey, so basically in our spiritual arts ministry group, yeah, we're talking about some of the things that we're doing. We're sharing like how we're getting through the day with our arts and that kind of thing. We're sharing our arts and the things that we've been inspired by. You know, we're talking about past memories. We're talking about projects that we're working on. You know, we're working with artists and we're talking to you about it. Yeah, we're working with these people. This is what we're forming now. We're interviewing people. We're sharing pictures. Like it literally is just a party all related to one main thing. But then the beauty of it is that every group, every channel out there, even like every concept now has a main thing, and then it trickles down into just regular life stuff because everybody can relate to regular life. So yeah, that's how people would find their way to it. You're just creating a fun environment and inviting people in to be a part.
You're recommending which? I'm not clear as to whether or not you're recommending a public or a private group for us.
Got you. Well, as far as recommendation, I mean, public to me is fine, because I mean, it's like private would be more so like if for some reason there was some like really serious confidential material, you know, like you know, some people have personal groups where, you know, people's like sharing some real personal stuff, and that's the reason why the group is created. So in this case, public, because it's just a subject that honestly everybody can appreciate as they see people like sharing in a particular fun and real fruitful way. So it being public would honestly be the way. That just allows it to be where when people kind of even make a mistake and stop by when they're looking for something else, they peek in and like, oh wow, and they have more of a chance to be like, oh wow, that's nice, and somebody might come in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I tonight am on time constraint. I'm sorry. At 8:30, I will have to bow out. If the rest of you will want to continue to talk, that's fine. But I just wanted to put that out there because it's 8:25 right now. We normally, Aaron, we try to do our meetings within 1 hour. We've been pretty disciplined about that.
Okay, makes sense. So I'm fine with tonight if we're fine. I mean, I think we covered some good territory tonight.
I'd like to hear from everybody in the group. So I'm just going to call names to see if you have a question or a comment. I'm just going to go through the list here. Fidosha?
No questions, no comments. I think Aaron was pretty thorough.
Okay. All right. Michael? Michael, you unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Can you do that?
Sorry. Yeah, my question is, who would we send out the initial invitations to? Should it just be the OGOT community? Should it be beyond that? Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Who would be the initial invitees?
Mm-hmm. The initial invitees, it would be similar to the party concept I was talking about. So it isn't like a thing where there's a strategic prioritizing of who. It's not like that. It's literally like you're starting to invite in people who relate to this particular party. It would be the same thing as any other kind of. So yes, that would be that. And then, like I said, on top of that kind of relaxed thing, then you also do have the ability to have like a beautiful strategic, like, okay, we also have a mailing list of over 10,000, with the church. So at some point in time, you're able to, they'll, be able to put together a nice, thing and invite in that way. And then but like, besides that, you're literally just inviting in people who you actually know they have a common interest. So a lot of, if you take it back to the beginning, if you erase all of this for a second and you just start from the beginning of what your normal goals are and even were, those are the people. Like the people that you created the concert for to reach them, the people who you were thinking about with the cafe, who you was just like, oh, or the people that were like, yes, we would love some. Like that's it. It's just the community. Yeah, it's the like-minded, like-interest community. There is no wrong. There is no wrong. There's no wrong or no like, well, these people need to be here. It's none of that. The only people you wouldn't invite are people who just, they either have no interest and you just be bugging them. Yeah, that's really just it. That's really it. Thanks for that question.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Gail.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me unmute her. I just asked to unmute you.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so I want to go back to the point of the open groups and the private groups.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what the private group is again.
The only difference is that when a person pulls up the name, they can't see anything that's happening in the group, no post, they can't see who's in it or anything. It's just hidden. You can see that it is a group, but you can't tell anything that's going on inside of it. The public group, you're able to see. You're able to look through the window and see. You're not in the group yet because you still have to be approved to be in a group, but you can look through the window and see what's going on. And like I said, because this group is the type of group that it is, I mean, that would be the one that I recommend because actually, like I said, it's literally like people walking through the mall and they happen to see your window and they're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, wow, I can appreciate that. That's nice. They still can't get in. They can't do anything to the group, and that kind of thing. But it just allows for, people to be able to see what's going on without them being approved first. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Eunice?
So approval is like from friend requests?
A person, when they go to a group, they click that they want to join the group. And then when that join, that will go to the administrator or administrators of the group, like the people that are connected to that as far as administrators. They would see the requests for that. It would tell you who it is and that kind of thing. And then you can approve or disapprove it or what have you. But yeah, it's kind of like sending a friend request. Yeah, you hit join group and then you have to wait to be approved to be in the group. So that allows for the process of vetting and filtering and, seeing who's coming in. The other fun part, like I was telling you all before, is that you can create like a questionnaire where people can actually answer a couple questions before they come in. And a lot of people use that to really gauge if people are really interested or if they're going to abide by the rules or if they really have something to contribute. So they might do everything from the extreme of asking a person a trivia question about like this topic. Like for instance, like I went to a Keith Sweat page the other day or something and they were like, where is he from? like to see how if you're really a fan, you know. And if you go through the process of finding out where he's from and you don't know and you're in there, just like cause some trouble. It's like, yeah, not too many people will go through that. So they had everything from that to like, why are you interested in being in this group?
There we go.
You know, to
Yeah.
so
Just leave it there.
everything from that to to asking you questions about why do you want to be here, or to like, here are the policies. Do you agree to these? You know, it's just kind of a nice kind of checking at the door. A nice way to add another level of checking at the door to be able to make sure everybody who comes in is on the same page and is understanding what the group is about. So that's
So it sounds like.
Mhm.
Finish.
No, that's I was
I'm
finished.
finished.
I was finished. What'd you say?
So it sounds like to me that it's maybe something that we may want, just so that you can filter out people that really trolls.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about trolls is that most people don't have time because it's really they really don't have any benefit in literally just searching to come in your group to cause a fuss. I mean, it's literally like no benefit, you know. So the only people you have that come into groups that are not like good fits for the group would be certain groups. Say it's about something like race cars, right? Say it's something about like customized cars, and everybody's posting in there. Maybe they're just supposed to post their own customized cars, but somebody just wants to post like the fact that they sell cars and all, like everything about cars. But that's more so general groups where it's like a general interest. And then people find that it's like, oh, this is an opportunity where people are here. Now I can just come in here and just start putting all my stuff, but not in a group like this. Like you won't have anything to worry about in a group like this, because it's a waste of your time to come in and do so. Like it's just a waste of your time. You know, like you can't, people are not there advertising, and advertisement groups are the ones where you have to worry about people just coming in and just spamming and stuff like that. But it is good for like I said, some good upfront, like hey, like it, sometimes you could even like, because I don't even want to look at this so much as like the bouncer at the door. Like you could also look at it as like, okay, in the church kind of flow, you could look at it as like the usher at the door. Like literally it could be like a greeting and like a, hey, like, so what do you like about spiritual? Like, what's your favorite, you know, like that kind of thing, you know? Yeah.
It actually spark other conversations.
Exactly. It's like a nice way of greeting and just kind of getting people in a particular flow. And then when they come in, they're like, yeah, they're ready and they're excited, you know? And so, yeah. Anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Emma, you could call on the next person.
That's okay. Thank you. Karen, any questions, comments?
Oh, wait a minute. You're muted, Miss Karen. Hold on. I just asked to unmute you.
I forgot I had muted myself.
Okay.
So, and you all are probably gonna think I'm a stick in the mud. By the way, Aaron, I did tell Virginia that she should speak with you, because I did tell about the conversations we were having and the good ideas you were bringing forward.
Oh, thank you.
You know, that could help in the overall planning. The difference between what Aaron does and what we will do is Aaron is his own company. He owns his own company. He makes the decisions for his own company, and he is his company. We are part of a larger organization. And so anything that we do, and I'm saying this because I don't want us to excitedly go down a path without recognizing the fact that anything we do is as a representative of OGOT. So if this is something that we want to do, then hopefully we have somebody on the communication committee with Virginia, so we can feed this through. And I think one of the things that would behoove us as we kind of move forward is to develop a plan for what we want to do, and then to present it to, and you know, probably the reverends and Virginia as the board champion for communications, because it's kind of, it's a technology thing, but it's more about
Yeah, it's more.
communication,
Mhm.
reaching out. And to have that as part of an action step in the strategic plan. We can say, hey, the spiritual arts ministry is going to be the first one out the gate, but we should not create an additional Facebook page. We just spent 3 years cleaning out all these rogue Facebook pages that everybody just decided to put up. So we don't want to do that. The church already has a Facebook page. We need to identify somebody to be an administrator for it. So even though there's not a lot of work, there's still going to be some work, and there's going to be some level of consistency in terms of, you know, who checks. But if you are an administrator, if you're an administrator for the page, the nice thing is you don't have to go to the OGOT Facebook page to see what's happening, because it'll come in on your own Facebook feed on the right, showing what pages you are you're an administrator for. So as we move forward, I just want to make sure that we understand that whatever we do, it's going to be as an agent of OGOT, and we already know the drill. We already know what Reverend Burnett is going to ask in the proposal. What's the spiritual intent? You know, blah, blah, blah. You know, we've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years with the fashion and talent. So I just want to put that out, because I don't want us to go down a wrong path and end up discouraged because we didn't put this in the proper context. I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that we can be on the forefront of, like we always are, you know, but we need to be in order.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. If I can speak, I'm sorry, Ms. Emma, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have to go. I have another obligation to take care of, but please continue on. And with some people, it's being taken. If anybody would like to, you know, take notes or anything, that's fine. So I have to say good night to everyone.
Good night.
And thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, everybody.
You're very
I'll
welcome.
talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome. Yeah, so we could finish up in like the next 5 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, I definitely agree with you, Ms. Karen. In fact, honestly, I think that I don't want to say it this way to oversimplify, but I kind of feel like it kind of is like the given, so to speak. I think that this is more just brainstorming on ideas, and then all those things are taken back and always, like you said, funneled through the right. You still have people that have to be a part of the like full decision-making process. And so I don't think that it's even possible with the group they have here, as well as myself, for it to kind of be taken out of context to, you know, so I do agree with you.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm talking from experience.
I got you. So, okay.
I'm talking from experience.
Understood.
And most of us know. Most of us have had similar experiences with well-intentioned people going
I can understand.
with the ball.
Rogue.
I understand. Well, I guess I can say I can only speak for myself, which is like, yeah, my goal is to just give the plan, and then from there you could, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The second thing I was going to say though, in response to what you said, is that, so what you were saying as far as the Facebook page and not another being created, I agree with you from the perspective of the One God, One Thought Center page. In fact, I was talking about with that with the last meeting. The one thing I will say though is that there's a difference between a page and a group. And the page, I agree with you. Like, you want to have just one page for the church, and then when you have certain things that are specific posts coming down that page, that's like, this is the church, and these are the different branches of different things going on. Then, you know, you'll have specific posts that's related to like the arts ministry and that kind of thing.
Okay, let me reframe that.
Okay.
Facebook account. So anything that's going to be OGOT will emanate from the OGOT Facebook account.
Oh yeah,
which includes the groups and everything.
Right, and I to me again, that's a given. Like, I mean, I but like you said, it's not though. But to me, that's a given. I mean,
like to take things explicit. I don't like to assume that people.
No, you're right.
Or,
100%. And I couldn't agree with you more on that. So I definitely agree with you there. But yeah, yes, when you actually make a group, yes, it would be signed in under the whatever OGOT uses as the email address and password, and the group, yes, you would want the group created to do that, 100% sure. But yeah, and the only reason why I brought it up was, just because, the difference between a page and a group, and what I was expressing last time with like the dynamic different, and why like one doesn't serve the purpose of the other. They both serve unique purposes. And even if you have a page, the group is the part that is kind of like everything else I was saying about the organic aspect of the like the sharing and the growth, whereas though a page, is just more so just about one, post that's just coming from like the actual entity, and then people that are just kind of commenting on that, which has its, it has a great place as well. But yeah, so anyway, I was just sharing that just to make sure everybody understood the difference between the group and the page, and the benefits, of each. So that was all I had to share. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. So I guess I can say, like, at this point, I'm definitely feeling good about, what we shared today.
Yeah. So to help me to make more content like this, please see the info in the description or comments. Thanks so much for watching. And if we're not already connected on all my other homes, the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, etc., where you can find me at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV.TV on IG.